All right, we'll go ahead and get started, everyone. Good evening and welcome to our webinar, Creating a Visible LinkedIn Profile, which is part of our Get That Job webinar series. My name is Jordan Neal and I am the career librarian here at the Champaign Public Library, so thank you all for joining us. Before I introduce our speaker, I wanted to mention some library information that we will reiterate at the end of the webinar, as well as some webinar details. So as you may know or have heard, our library is open to the public with some modifications to the services that we offer. We invite you to visit our website, champaign.org, for more information. We are now available to answer your questions in person and virtually. However, you can chat with us through our website. You can email us at librarian@champaign.org. We are still offering our Book a Librarian service virtually. If you need any help at home, to request a session, just visit champaign.org/bookalibrarian to fill out a request form. We are also still offering our curbside service if you wanted to pick up any library items, or you can now come into the library to pick up those items, whichever you prefer, whatever you're comfortable with. Again, visit our website, specifically champaign.org/curbside, for more information. And as always, our e-library is always open, where you can enjoy ebooks, movies, and more using your Champaign Public Library card, or you can sign up for a virtual library card through our website for instant access. Finally, I would like to briefly go over a few features available to you that might help during this particular webinar. Depending on your computer or device, if you take a look at your Zoom window, you can hopefully see audio settings at the bottom left of the screen, and you can adjust your audio settings, like changing your speaker by clicking or tapping on the upward arrow next to your speaker. Moving to the center bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat and raised hand option. Clicking on the chat will open or close a chat box on the right side of your Zoom window, or sometimes it displays on the middle of your screen, and you can just drag it around, again, depending on your computer or device. We invite you to use the chat to ask questions or leave any comments, as I see some of you are already doing here, and our presenter will try to answer them throughout the presentation. You also have the option to raise hand to receive assistance. You can use this if you have any technical difficulties or you'd like to speak and ask a question, so we can unmute you if you prefer not to type in the chat. We are recording this session, so just FYI when you ask your questions. Again, our presenter will be pausing for those questions throughout the webinar, so please feel free to ask your questions, and he'll hopefully get to those. So without further delay, I would like to introduce our presenter, Bruce Bixler. I invite you to read his entire biography within our event description online, but long story short, he is bringing us a wealth of professional experience in addition to his expert social media insight. His experiences in social media includes keynote speaking. He, of course, is a subject matter expert for LinkedIn, especially for webinars like these, a blog writer, and other social media, and has even instructed LinkedIn and Twitter workshops. He's been featured by countless media outlets because of his expertise and experience. He is currently listed as one of the top 200 LinkedIn global practitioners, and this past April, he became certified as a social media manager, as well as a LinkedIn Learning certified for remote working. We're so happy he could join us this evening. So with that, Bruce, I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you. I don't remember doing all this, but it's been a long journey, like about 10 years. Do I have access to the screen now?
Yes, I will stop sharing now.
Okay. All right. And I'll pull my PowerPoint up and share the sound, video. Share. Okay, we're going to start from the beginning. And LinkedIn changed their profile, your profile, a couple weeks ago. It rolled out to everyone. There are certain features that are still being rolled out, so I will try to cover some of them. Everybody may not be at the same stage that I am, but I'll give you a heads up and show you what it looks like. So we're gonna, and this is what LinkedIn sent out to everybody. This is how your profile is going to look. It has your feed in the middle, a toolbar on the left and a toolbar on the right. And it's supposed to be easier and more inclusive, and most importantly, it's putting their community front and center. And I have a link on this this page to take a look at what they are the whole article that they wrote about on LinkedIn. So I want to start off with my LinkedIn. This is my profile page, and I'm going to go back and forth between the profile page and the PowerPoint to show you where some of these features are. They aren't always obvious. LinkedIn doesn't do a very good job of educating its consumers, so that's why I'm here tonight.
Hey, Bruce, I'm sorry to interrupt. There is a gray box on the bottom left of the screen that we can see.
Yep, that is the toolbar. Do you want that? Let me see if I can hide that. Hide floating. Is that gone now?
One of them are gone. Now it's just moved up on the screen.
Okay. Okay. So
now it's gone.
Okay. Yay. The profile is also just a little bit different on your the mobile device. I would love to show you my mobile device live, but I can't do that with Zoom. It doesn't coordinate yet. And one of these days I'll have to figure out a way to show you how to do that. The one thing that I want you to know, if you want to be visible to recruiters, to hiring managers, to customers or clients or whatever, to make sure that your email address is visible in your About section on your LinkedIn profile. And I showed you that the mobile version on purpose, because down at the bottom of the page is my email address. And the reason I put that there, and I've been doing it for about 8 years, is that the only people that can connect with you are the people in your first degree connections. Second degree connections can't email you. Third degree people can't reach you. Group members can't reach you. And recruiters can't reach you unless actually they can't even reach you on email without a email address. And if you don't have it there and make it readily available, you want to be upfront about it and have it there so they can see it both on the mobile app and on the desktop. It makes it more easy for them to see it, and they can contact you right away. I used to tell people to put both their phone number and their email address on there, and my account was hacked, and the only way they can hack your account is to have both your phone number and your email address. So that's why I'm only putting the email address on the LinkedIn profile. Now, this is how you have to complete. This is what you need to have a complete profile on LinkedIn. And right now, it is 51%. When I took this snapshot, it was 50.5% have complete profiles. And these are all the features on the profile that you have to make it complete. Without a complete profile, you stand about a 40-to-1 chance of being found on LinkedIn. And you have to have all of these different criteria filled in on your LinkedIn profile to make it complete so that you will be visible to those that you want to find you. This is one way not to be visible. This is one way not to be found on LinkedIn, is if you use the ghost image instead of a picture. I don't care if you're old. I don't care if you have wrinkles. I've got white hair and wrinkles. It doesn't make any difference. They're gonna, when they interview you, they're gonna find out what you look like. So make sure you have a picture. A lot of times, and from what I remember, recruiters, they did a recruiter survey and they interviewed them, and 19% of the time the recruiters were spent more 19% of the time on your photograph, avatar, or image. So make sure it's on your LinkedIn profile as well. Here's another no-no on LinkedIn, your banner image. If you have the blue starry night, that's not going to help with marketing yourself or giving anybody any contact information on how they can reach you. So my banner image used to be an image of myself giving a presentation at a public library with about 150 or so people. And then I also had my daughter do the printing on here so that they would know that I do training and coaching and that I was a social media expert. And when they go to your LinkedIn profile is actually a landing page for you. So you want to make it easy for people to contact you. You want to make it easy for them to know what you do. You don't even have to tell them. The image on your banner page should show exactly what you do. I see a lot of images of the skyline of Chicago or a circuit board. A circuit board I can see if someone's in IT, but a lot of people will put an image of their city in the background, and that doesn't tell your hiring manager, your customer, your client what you do. So now, this is my banner image. It's a Zoom photo, and I blurred it so I could protect the innocent. And it gave me an opportunity to put my contact information in a second place on LinkedIn so they don't have to search all over to find my email address. And again, it's only my email address. I also put services that I render, and I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for people to contact me and they know why they're contacting me. So 8 years ago, I did a LinkedIn presentation back in 2012. And as it is today, you have to have a current job title in order to make your profile complete. And if it's complete, you're going to be more visible to recruiters. So I came up with a list of titles back then that you can use if you didn't have a job, if you were out of work. And this is just a partial list of the titles that I used. I used the title marketing manager for all of them, but then the company I have here in red is independent contractor, marketing consultant, self-employed, or contract marketing manager. Now, lo and behold, in 2020, 8 years later, and here's the link to the 2012 presentation. 8 years later, LinkedIn now, when you add an experience section, you can put in full-time, part-time, self-employed, freelance, contract, internship, apprenticeship, and seasonal. They give you 8 different opportunities so that you can have a complete profile. And if you're out of a job, you could be self-employed, and you could definitely do freelance work if you're unemployed as well. A lot of people I know are doing contract work and seasonal work to make sure that they have a complete profile with a job title. So this is on here. Now, I'm going to leave my email address if anybody wants a copy of the 2012 presentation or a copy of the 2020 presentation. I'll be glad to send those to you for free. It's part of the service here at the library. So I put these up along the way so that you can ask questions about any part of what I've discussed so far. It also gives you my contact information and my email address or my Gmail address and my LinkedIn URL as well. So if there are any questions, please put them in the chat and I'll be glad to answer them as we go along rather than wait until the end and somebody forgets what they were going to ask. And in the meantime, I found this actually my son found this on Twitter, and I thought this was a good, how to write your resume. This might help. It just adds a little levity. So any questions so far?
Yes. For one of them you just answered, will we get a copy of the presentation?
Yep.
And then the second one says, there is a section on LinkedIn called Contact. Will this section be visible to others, like first, second connections, or should I manually add my email contact in the About section? Thanks.
Oh, that's a good question, because you can add your email into the contacts section because it allows individuals to have it there. The only thing is, I can tell you right now, probably 80% of the recruiters and hiring managers don't know that you can add email address, which is you have three options as to, if I hang on a second, I want to go to the area of the profile that she's talking about. Where is it? Let's see if I can find it. No, okay, Zoom. All right. Here is the contact information on the profile that he or she is talking about. And if you click on that, you can put your email address in there along with your website and a phone number. Now you have an option on the email address whether you want just your first degree connections to contact you, second degree, or everyone on LinkedIn. So that's going to be up to you as to, let's see if I can see if this comes up. Yeah. Yeah, and it's up here. So you have access right there to your URL as well. The only reason I tell people to put it on the About section is because a lot of times it's not visible on the mobile phone. 60% of LinkedIn is done on the mobile phone. So you may want to make sure that it's visible by putting it there, and that way they're going to see it. And on the desktop where my About section is, it's the first, again, it's the first line. You must make it the first line because a lot of times if you move it down further in the About section, people won't see it. What's the average attention span nowadays of a goldfish? 8 or 9 seconds. They may not go down that part of the profile to find your contact information. So make it readily available for them. And I gotta get back.
Thank you, Bruce. FYI, there's gray box still.
Yep, I know. That's the toolbar, and I've got to hide it, but I had to get access to it to show the hide it. Okay, and we'll go. What happened to my? Okay, I got to get rid of this and go to here. Okay. So I like this definition. If you want to put that on your resume, you're more than welcome to. I just thought it would add a little levity. Okay. Any more questions, or is that it?
Looks like that's it for now.
Okay. About every 10 or 12 slides, I'll ask for questions, and hopefully it's about something that I've just talked about. This used to be LinkedIn security and privacy settings before 2 weeks ago. You had 4 sections. You had an account, privacy, ads, and communication. The new LinkedIn security and privacy settings now has 6 different sections. And that's why it's gone from 66 privacy settings now to over 200. It's extensive, especially the visibility part and your account access. Some of these subdivisions of access, there are 25 different choices you have to make, either positive or negative, turn them on or turn them off. LinkedIn has turned everything on. So what you have to do is go back in and turn the ones off that you don't feel comfortable with. One of the things, if you want to be visible on LinkedIn, one of the settings is under visibility is profile visibility off of LinkedIn. Off of LinkedIn means Google, Bing, Yahoo, Dice, anything else. You want your profile visible to everyone on the internet, especially when you're looking for a job. So you want to make sure that your profile is visible and turn that one set, make sure that is on and not turned off.
Hey, Bruce, I'm sorry to interrupt again. I don't think we're looking at the same slide that you are at the moment.
Oh, okay. Hang on a second. oh, wait a minute. Let me see if I'm, okay. Do you see the one where it says manage active status?
Yes, we can see it. There are a couple of
Okay.
gray boxes, but we can see it now.
Yep. I'm getting rid of those. Hang on. It's going to go away. Okay, one of the other settings you have for visibility that you should make, you have 3 different options right now. You want to have all LinkedIn members, and this is when you're active on LinkedIn platform, whether you're on the mobile device or whether you're on the desktop. On the mobile device, if you're active, the LinkedIn will show the person this green dot with the white center. If you're on your desktop, it'll be solid green. You don't want to limit your visibility, so I would make it all LinkedIn members, especially if you're trying to find a job. Don't cut off your visibility just to certain people. And then you also have, if you really want to go private, if you're changing everything, you may want to go down to no one for the time being, and then make your changes and then turn that back on so they know that you're alive and well on LinkedIn. This is one of the settings under account preferences. Viewers of this profile also viewed. Now, in my instance, I turned it off, and I did that for a reason. The reason is I don't want someone coming to my landing page on LinkedIn, and then on the right-hand column, there's a list of 10 or 12 other LinkedIn profiles. I don't want them going off my LinkedIn profile. I don't want them viewing other people's profiles. I want them focused on my profile. So I turn that off. If you're in job search, that's your competition. And in my job, there may be competition, other LinkedIn people, and I don't want someone coming to my profile and then seeing someone else and going to their profile instead. So I want them fixed on my profile. So I turn that off. So I'll leave that up to you. If you want it on, that's fine. Excuse me. It is good in a way, though, if you're job searching and you go to, let's say, the hiring manager's profile on LinkedIn, and on the right-hand side of the hiring manager's profile, there's the 10 other images. Those could be images of his boss or his boss's boss or a VP of all the same company. So take advantage of it if people make it visible, especially a recruiter or a hiring manager or an HR person, because other people in the company may be listed on the right-hand side, and you might be able to find who they would report to, or maybe someone that could help you better than the one that you're looking at. One of the things that is under data privacy is signal your interest to recruiters at companies you created job alerts for. You want to be visible to them, so make sure that you have that checked yes. A lot of time, like I said, most of the time LinkedIn has everything set to yes, but go in and confirm it and make sure it's that way. But if it isn't, turn it on, so when you have interest at a company, actually you want to look at target companies on LinkedIn. You should have 30 or 40 target companies that you want to work for, and each of those companies you should have 2 or 3 people that you want to be connected with. And the reason, I'll say, if you want the PowerPoint, I'm also going to send you a video on LinkedIn of how LinkedIn teaches recruiters to use the recruiter tool. And 3 of the features that they used in the recruiter tool is if you are one, you're following the company. 2, you're engaging the company. In other words, if the company puts out an update and you like it or comment on it. And 3, if you have connections at the company. If you have all 3 of those at a target company, recruiters are going to see that when they look at your profile. The ones using the recruiter tool, they'll be notified that one, you have connections there. Two, you interact with the company. And three, it's one of their target companies. So take advantage of that and make sure you have those alerts on as well. One of the other things, if you want to be visible on LinkedIn, is to edit your custom URL, preferably to just your name. I tried to get my name, but there were 7 other people ahead of me, so I had to use a different URL. And the other thing is, when I first got the URL, it had my name, it had a dash, and it had about 13 numbers and characters after it. And I went to get a business card printed up, and the URL was too long to fit in the space on the business card. So make sure you edit it, keep it simple. I can tell if people are rookies or novices because they haven't changed their URL on LinkedIn. So make sure you have that changed. Recruiters are going to notice that too. If you don't know how to use the platform, they're going to question about, is this a person I want to interview or supply for an interview? On the settings, how to edit your LinkedIn profile settings. These 2 things, your name, the number of connections, and region should be turned on, and then public, so that all of LinkedIn will be able to see your profile. Those 2 are a must if you want to be visible, not only on LinkedIn, but on Google. If you have those turned off, I'm going to see if I can show it to you, is that when you turn one of the settings off, and here's the list of settings that they have next to that. If you turn the background photo off, my banner will go away and my contact information will go away. And I've had some people that I've done their profiles for. I had one lady, under her current experience, the details were turned off, and under her past experience, her details were turned off, and also under her education. So what we had to do, and she was wondering why she wasn't getting any traction for search. People could see what she did, her job title, but they couldn't see what she did, what her responsibilities and actions were under that position. So make sure you have every single one of these turned so that it's blue, and so it's visible both on LinkedIn and on Google. Okay. Any questions about this section?
Yes. First one, I see you put your phone number in the contact information, but not in the About Me section. Is there a reason you put it in one section and not the other?
The reason I put my phone number in the About Me section, it was actually me looking at my profile, so I knew it was there. Normally, if you're looking at someone else's profile, the phone number won't be visible. The only thing will be visible will be the websites, Twitter, and your email address, depending on who you want to see the email address, but not your phone number. That's private to you.
Okay, we have a question. I'll allow you to speak, Lucille, or if you prefer to have us answer it through the chat, I will let you speak. It looked like you had a couple of questions.
Yeah. Bruce, you're a little fast for these old eyes, I'm telling you.
Hey, my eyes are older than you.
Yeah. So, but you are going to send this out. I'm just having a hard time keeping up and finding all the places on LinkedIn that you're pointing to so I can check stuff.
Yeah, no, I'll gladly send out the PowerPoint, and I'll send out the video as well that shows people how to look for, the recruiters look for you on LinkedIn.
But I do have one, I love that one. But can you show us where the signal your interest is one more time?
Signal your interest. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. See if I can get to it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Hide. All right. New share. I gotta add LinkedIn. All right, and you want to interest in positions or?
when you said you have to have these 2 boxes checked
Oh, okay.
to signal your interest,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know where those 2 boxes were.
Okay. You have to go to your toolbar at the top,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to go to settings and privacy.
Okay.
And I believe that was under, they changed this around, and I'm trying to find email addresses, data privacy, manage your data, where they moved it to, personal demographic, visibility, was it under profile viewing options, sign in and security. I want to get to edit my public profile, and I've got to find out where my public profile.
Is it in your advertising? I don't know.
No,
I
no,
have no clue.
that advertising is literally, that's all it is advertising. Profile visibility off, manage who can discover, active status, share jobs. I did a lot of this last night, and that's why I'm trying. Let's see if I can get it under.
Well, it's going to be in the handout too, because I don't want to waste a lot of your time,
Yeah,
because I know that you have to move forward.
Yeah. It's under.
Might be under data privacy and then job seeking preferences.
No, no, darn it. Well, let's see what we can do. Job application settings. These are just job application settings regarding resumes that you put in through LinkedIn, and I'll find it along the way here, and
Oh, I'm
I'll
sure.
make sure that it's on the presentation as well. Okay, let's go to, all right, this one. That's the trouble when they change it. All right, can you see the question screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Let me get rid of the box.
Address a couple more questions. I'm trying to get to everyone here. Someone did have a question about maybe making your slides take up the whole screen. It was a little bit difficult for them to see.
Yeah, I did take a full screenshot of the whole page to give you an idea where it was on the page. And when you get the PowerPoint, you won't have a problem on the page. You can just expand the page itself. But
and then
I think
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. It'll be a lot easier when you get the PowerPoint in person to read it. And on here, I have this expanded fully on the presentation. So I guess I probably, if I go in to find detail on where it's at, then I lose part of the page where you locate it. So I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place when I show that off. Anybody ready for 2021?
Yes.
Well, I need to see the terms and conditions before I get there. Okay, you had another question or no?
I think we've addressed some of it. Some people, another person had a question about those settings. I think it's going to be some under those job seeking preferences that people were chatting us about. So,
well, I suggest when you, not tonight, tomorrow, you're going to have to spend an hour going through finding those 200 settings, and it's not easy. It actually took me a lot longer than an hour, and I know where the stuff is buried. So, and if you want to hold on a second, I can show you. I want to show, where is it? Here it is. How much they're buried. Let's go to visibility, sign in and security. Okay, email addresses, that's not the one I wanted. Let's go to account preferences. Yeah. And name, location. you just have to keep going and going and going until you get all the settings here. Oh, here it is, communications. Here's where you have to be careful. If you get notifications on LinkedIn, if you go to this page, it just says received LinkedIn web and app. But if you click on this little arrow over here, it opens it up to conversations on LinkedIn, enterprise products, network news. Now, here's where it even gets more difficult. You have to go through on here and check and make sure that you want all of these boxes turned on or turned off. And as you can see, LinkedIn has them all turned on. You may not want them turned on. So it's going to take you more than an hour, and especially the settings part. I think I just came across it accidentally. Let's go to conversations. Oops, let's go to conversations. Again, more settings, more settings, more settings. I did turn one off, and because I get a lot of responses to posts. So I just wanted to show you that because it's a lot more detailed than people, it's a lot more involved. So I'll get back to the PowerPoint. Okay. That's why I say it's going to take you at least an hour, a minimum of an hour. And I'll see if I can hide this. Hide the floating one. Okay. All right. Page 2. All right. One of the things you may want to check on is control how other members will be able to see whether you visited their profile. Now this is under visibility. I think I went to it. Here it is. Yeah. Profile viewing options under visibility. You have 3 options. If you don't want someone to know that you looked at your profile, you go down to either private mode, private profile characteristics, or private mode. If you have it on your name and headline, and you have the free account, if you leave it there, you will see the people that looked at your account, the last 5 on the free account. If you turn this off and you go to private or private profile, you will not see the last people that looked at your LinkedIn profile. That's one of the trade-offs. So if you don't want anybody to know you looked at their profile, you can't tell if they looked at yours either. So you either have to have it on or off, one or the other. And I suggest you work it both ways. If you're searching for a target company and you want to talk to the VP or maybe of marketing or the chief marketing officer, you may want to go in private mode and look at their profile, find out, you know, where they went to school, check their about section, check their work histories, check and see if they've had any recommendation, check and see if they've given recommendations. That'll help you in your job search. And then when you're ready to maybe reach out to them, turn it back to your name and headline, and then send them a connection request or send them a message. So it's, you have to learn how to use the settings both on and off to your benefit, not LinkedIn's or someone else's. Okay, under privacy, let recruiters know you're open to opportunities. You want to make sure that is yes. You want them to know that you're following their company. You want to make sure you're open to any positions at that company as well. Now, any recruiter that has the LinkedIn recruiter tool will see that you're open to opportunities. Recruiters without the tool won't know that unless you have that new open to work logo on your profile. And I'll show you that in just a second here. This is what open to work looks like. I took a screenshot. I got an email, and what it is it's a graph underneath your photo that you're open to work. Now there are trade-offs for this. Some people think it's great. Some people think it's negative. The people that think it's great you're going to be visible to everyone on LinkedIn that can see your profile, including the recruiters that have the recruiter tool. You will also, the detriment to having this on here is 4 million people have this on their LinkedIn profile. So you're competing with 4 million other profiles. If another thing that's a detriment to it, I've noticed lately, and I've been in a couple of discussions with people, is freelancers, consultants, and other people are using this, even though that's their job. They're freelancing, they're artists, they're consultants. They're using that they're open to work, but they already have a job and they're just taking advantage of LinkedIn in order to get some extra visibility. So it's if you just make it the private LinkedIn that you're open to recruiters, there are 150,000 recruiters on LinkedIn. Your odds are a lot smaller that they'll see you, or a lot greater that they'll see you, as opposed to competing with 4 million people that say they're open to work. So it's trade-offs. You can use it either way. I'm going to leave that up to the individual, whatever your preferences are. And I can't guide you either way. And here's where they say choose who can see whether you're open or not. One is with recruiters only, and then the other is with the recruiter open to work. And that's going to give you a choice, whichever way you want to do it. I decided not to. I'm working, so I don't need to have that on my LinkedIn profile. But like I said, you're going to compete with 4 million other LinkedIn profiles for the time being. And so right now, I still share with recruiters that I'm available. I do social media work, and there are a lot of people looking for social media marketers. I am working now, but if someone wants to hire me and a recruiter wants to approach me, I'll take advantage of that, but I just don't want to announce it to the company I'm working for. I want to go into searching for a connection at a target company. I'm just going to keep it brief. Decide on a target company that you want to work for. You should have a minimum of 30 targets. I used to do it when I was in job search. I would have 40 target companies, and I would break it up. My strategy was this week I would look at 10 of my target companies and focus on getting connections at those target companies. Next week, I would select another 10 target companies and see if I could get connections there. And the third week and the fourth week, I would do that the same way. Ideally, you should have 3 connections at each of your target companies. And I said ideally, you should have one that's a peer, someone that you're going to work with. You should have a manager or general manager, someone that you would report to. And the third person, working your way up the scale, a vice president, or maybe someone in the C-suite at a target company. So it would be ideal if you have that. The best way I found to work target companies is to connect with a couple people that you would work with, maybe find a HR person, and then work up to the manager or general manager. And if they take a look at your profile and they see that you're connected to 1 or 2 other people within the company, they're more than likely to connect with you as well. And then the same way with the VP or the C-level, if they see you have 3 or 4 connections at their company, they're more than likely to connect with you as well. So signal your interest to recruiters at companies that you created job search alerts for, and I've done that. I've looked at about 10 companies I'd like to work at for as a social media manager, and every once a week I'll get an alert. They'll say this company is posting a job. I've had recruiters at some of these companies actually reach out to me and say, would you apply for this job? And I've done that as well. So make sure they know that you're interested in them by creating the job alerts. Now I know I don't have any questions for this, right? Correct?
Just a couple.
Just a couple. All right.
Well, I think one of them you answered. Someone said, what is your opinion on using the green open to work frame on your photo? I think you addressed many areas. So if you have any questions that he didn't answer, put them in the chat.
Yep.
And then someone asked, an invitation. Oh, since you're showing your LinkedIn profile, are you allowing everyone, are you inviting people to view your profile, or could they send an invitation to connect with you? How do you feel about that?
I make my profile open. That way I can, if they want to connect with me, they'll send a personalized connection request. I would like to have it open all the time. It's just certain situations I'll go in there and do it privately or anonymously. That way I can get some background information on the people that I may want to connect with. And then I turn it back on so they know I looked at their profile. And I'm not afraid to do that. I'd rather have them know who's looking at them and who wants to connect with them. And I don't want to hide my profile when I do that. Is that it?
Someone just asked, would you please talk a little bit about your strategy to connect with VPs, directors, C-suite? What's your message to them while you're looking to connect?
I have a secret strategy for that level, and I have a template. It's not really a template. It's something I've worked out over the last few years, and it's a personalized one. It has nothing to do with job searching. It has everything to do with networking. It has everything to do with helping them, not me. On LinkedIn, as any other social media, it's not about me. It's about helping the other person. And I send them that connection request. And usually I try, most of the time, I'll have a connection already at the company, maybe 2 or 3. And if I can get someone that's in HR, a VP, and then I'll go check the C-suite, the director level, and then put my personalized connection request to them. But again, it's not about me. I'm trying to connect with them. I'm trying to network with them, not anything at all about job search, nothing. And definitely nothing about sales. That's it.
Okay, do you have time for one more question?
Sure.
If your LinkedIn inquiries have fallen off the map in October, any ideas why?
LinkedIn inquiry from other people or for questions, or I'm not sure what they mean by inquiries.
Let's see here. If you don't mind clarifying, that would be recruiters. They just wrote recruiters. That's what they added to their question. Okay.
Inquiries from recruiters. It could be one of several things. With the coronavirus, the budgets are here, there, and everywhere. Although I think between now and maybe the end of November, it may pick up. The reason is they have a budget for next year. And if they want to fill it, they need someone in the position this year. So I know everybody's getting back from vacations and seasonal stuff in August and September, so that may have dropped off. And then October, November, all the way through the end of November, that may pick up so that they will try and create a position for a budget so they have that same position next year as well. So that's probably why it fell off, is it's budgetary concerns, vacations, things like that. Is that it?
That's it for now.
Okay. One of the last things I want to focus on, well, it's not going to be the last thing, is groups. LinkedIn has almost 2 million groups. It's 1.9 million. And in order for you to be visible on LinkedIn, you have to be in groups. You can exponentially expand your group visibility, because the only people that can see you on LinkedIn are people in your network. I put an example on here. If a group has 100,000 members, when you like or comment, and you're in the group with someone else and you make a like or comment, 100,000 members have the visibility of you liking or commenting. Not all of them are going to look at the group that day or week, but 100,000 people have access to it. The other thing with groups, you can search the members of the groups. If you looked at someone's profile and you saw their name on LinkedIn, you go to the group, put in their name in the search box for the group, and it'll pop up their name as well in there. On groups, you can now message as many members of a group, and there's no longer a limit. There used to be a limit of 20 messages in groups a month. That would be a total. Now, I tried it a couple weeks ago, and I sent out 35 messages from one group member that I'm in to 35 members of that group, and I wasn't restricted at all. So I don't know if they're rolling that out. I don't know if they're testing it, so try that. It's an easy way. If you can't connect with someone, say you want to get the VP of HR at Baxter, and you found out he's in a group, you join that group, you're able to message him through the group. You may not want to send him a connection request at the beginning. You may want to like or comment something that they post, or send them a message about networking and see if they're available to connect with, and then send them a connection request. So use the messages as a precursor to a connection request, just to warm them up a little bit, rather than just have a cold email. Hey, you want to join my network on LinkedIn? That doesn't work anymore. You've got to be a little bit warmer with your application for trying to connect with people. And again, you can only search your LinkedIn network. Now, I put this on here 3 times for emphasis. If you have a network, and I use this example of a super connector, he's got 30,000 connections and he networks a lot, and he's in a whole bunch of groups, like 95 of them. His profile can only be visible to 35 million other people, period. The only exception would be the recruiters that have the recruiter tool. So that's an extra 150,000 people. So if someone is in the first degree, second degree, and third, which are group members, and you're not in connection with, you're not in their network, you're not going to be seen, you're not going to be visible. I can't emphasize that enough. When people do a search on LinkedIn, they're only searching their network. And if you have a network of only 1 million people out of 700 million, your chances are pretty thin. But if you have a network of 35 million, you stand a little bit better chance of being found, and also viewing other people's profiles as well. So when recruiters search and see your profile, only those with the recruiter tool will be able to see it as well, besides your connections. And I'm giving you an example here. The 5 largest groups on LinkedIn have 8.5 million members. If you're not in these groups, your profile will not be visible to those 8.5 million people. And the only reason I know the 5 largest groups on LinkedIn, there are 8.5 million people, I'm in those 5 groups. So my visibility is not 35 million. It's probably closer to 22 or 23 million, but I don't have 30,000 connections either. So make sure, here's another thing. If you want the presentation, and I just updated the groups, the top 10 groups on LinkedIn, it's like 12 million people altogether. I'll send the groups list along with the presentation and the PowerPoint and the video. Social media accounts, especially your LinkedIn profile, are visible and show up in search on Google, Bing, Yahoo, Dice, and others. So you have to make sure your profile is visible. You have to make sure it's complete with a picture, banner, contact information. Make it very easy for a recruiter to find you, to contact you. Whether you're active or not, these people, your clients and customers and hiring managers, they're going to look at your profile, whether you want them to or not. So it better be good looking, it better be complete. If it isn't complete, I know recruiters, if you don't have a picture, they're going to bypass you because they want people that know social media, that know LinkedIn, and aren't afraid of showing it. And the more skills you have visible on your profile, and you should have all 50 skills listed on your profile, but they're looking for profile skills that match with the search terms that people are trying to use to find you. So the more skills you have, the more often you're going to be found. And you don't have to have the skills just in your skills section. You can have skills strategically placed throughout your LinkedIn profile, in your headline, in your summary section, in your experience section, in your past experience section. Have the skills listed in all those areas, and the more often, I should say, LinkedIn likes redundancy. So the more often you put a certain search term or skill on the profile, the more often, or the higher you're going to rank in visibility on LinkedIn and in search. Now I want to get into a little messaging. Messaging is going to be more important nowadays because a lot of people you can't meet in person. So if you want to message them, and I found this GIF on LinkedIn, it's the Munchkins, not really the Munchkins. Anyway, it was someone's happy birthday. So you have 4 opportunities on the desktop to wish that person, that connection, and it's only your first degree connection, a happy birthday. You can send them a picture, you can send them an attachment, you can send them a GIF, you can send them an emoji. So that's one way of staying visible. You want to stay top of mind with all your connections. You never know when one of your connections is going to need someone with your experience. So make sure that you're at least contacting them 3 to 4 times a year. And on mobile, it's even better. On mobile, there's a little microphone here that you can send them an audio message. I did this to George. I sent him a message. It was brief. So you click on the microphone, and it's going to look like this. You click on the blue microphone, hold it down. You have 15 seconds to record your message. I took 9 seconds to sing happy birthday. I sounded like the Chipmunks singing it. And it will send them the happy birthday message this way, and it'll have the message, the recorded message in the blue there also as well. So be distinctive, be outstanding. Don't be average. And I think this is probably going to be one of the best parts. A lot of people don't understand hashtags. And I actually wrote an article about hashtags. If anybody wants a copy of that, I'll send them to them as well. It's a 3 or 4 minute read about hashtags. Now this was hashtags, this was like about 6 months ago. So there's been a few updates. So read this and then take a look at what I'm going to show you now. And here's the link to the article for the hashtags. On your homepage, not on your profile, but on your homepage, on the left-hand border, there's a list of hashtags that you follow. And you have those that you want to use every day. You have those that you want to follow maybe weekly, but it gives you a list on the left-hand side, and you're able to select which ones you want also. So here is the hard part about using hashtags. I went up to the top of the toolbar in the top left up there and I put in job hunting tips. Now, if you write an update and it's about job hunting tips, only 277 people are following that hashtag. The one below it, I put in job seekers. 1,392,000 people are following that. Do you want 277 people to see that hashtag or that update, or do you want 1.4 million people to see that update? So you have to do your research and your homework on hashtags, both using them for in an article or actually searching for job seekers. And now when you go into the job hunt tips, that's in the center of your homepage. It'll be in the feed and it'll be every article with job hunting tips, hashtags in the article. Again, on the job seekers one, there are going to be a lot more articles in your homepage feed because 1.4 million people are following that and 1.4 million people may be using that hashtag. So you'll be able to go in and read a lot of articles about job seekers. Maybe not so many about job hunting, but the job seekers one gives you a lot of information. If you're in job search, put that in the top search bar in the top left and search for that hashtag, and it'll give you all kinds of articles to follow and to read. Okay, how am I doing for time? I didn't...
We're going to be a little over, but that's okay.
Okay.
We do have a
Any
few
questions?
Yes. So how do you handle when your connection request is not accepted within a certain time frame? Do you use a strategy of withdrawing your request and re-requesting to connect?
I send the connection request and I wait 4 to 6 weeks, depending on my schedule. I'll go in and look and see if they've accepted it. If they haven't, I withdraw it, but I do not resubmit it right away. Maybe 6 months from now. One thing to do, if you want to actually connect with someone and they won't connect with you the first time, find out what groups they're in. See if they're posting any updates in the groups. Go in on those updates and comment and like those, and do that over a period of 3 or 4 months, and then come back to them and say, in your request to connect, hey, I enjoy your articles in this group. I'd like to connect with you on LinkedIn to get a better idea of what your company's like, what your thought process is. So I would do it that way. Don't withdraw it and then send it out again. That's just going to be annoying to the person. And that's how I would do it, how I would personally do it. Excuse me.
Yeah, someone said I've withdrawn connection requests on the phone app and they reappear. Let's see here. If I deactivate the ability of someone to see me viewing their profile, will they be notified about my past viewing when I turn the option back on?
No. You're anonymous. When you're anonymous, it's not retroactive. If you turn it off, they won't see you. If you turn it on, they will. It's that simple.
Okay. Do you recommend filling out the demographic information?
Yes, because it may help recruiters that are looking for a certain personality, certain demographic, certain background, help them find a candidate, and you may fit the candidate profile ideally. So make sure you fill it out and make it easier for them to find you. That's how.
Is LinkedIn more geared towards business career/jobs and less geared to service jobs?
It's more, LinkedIn is geared actually business to business. 76% of LinkedIn is B2B. And of those B2Bs, most of them are nowadays service jobs. So the job market portion of LinkedIn is only 24%. And I would say most of those are going to be service sector, including IT, a lot in IT, a lot in HR. So it's going to be more service than industry search.
This goes back to your hashtag comment. How do you increase the hashtags? Can you add them directly?
You can add the hashtags directly, ideally, and this is from one of the LinkedIn engineers, is to have between 3 and 9 hashtags. You don't want to be Instagram and have 20 of them on there. It says 3. Oh, between 3. Yeah, 3 is ideal. You can have up to 9, but if you get more than that, you're kind of diluting your visibility. You're taking them in different directions. I know you want to try and attract people, but sometimes it's hurting you more than it's helping you.
Thank you. So far, someone's excellent webinar. Thank you, Bruce. Bruce, do you mind if I start sharing my screen?
No, okay. Let me see if I got one more thing here. Okay, I just wanted to show you, there are 3 things on LinkedIn that went away. Find nearby, share your calendar availability. Most people didn't even know that was on there. And send your location when using messages. Most people didn't know that was on there. So those things have gone away. When COVID goes away, then these 3 features may come back, but it's only on mobile. I have more. There are probably 8 or 9 more pages, but I'll send that. It'll be part of the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Any other questions, everyone? You can put them in the chat, or you could raise your hand. All right. Yes, we will try to get the, if not the PowerPoint, but or information on how to connect with the PowerPoint. I will be emailing everyone.
Okay.
They might reach out to you as well.
If they want the video, the groups, the other PowerPoint, all that other stuff, send me an email. You have my contact information, so be glad to send it out. Educate as many people as I can. Yes, 30,000 is still the limit for the amount of connections you can have.
Wonderful. All right, well, thank you, everyone. Once again, thank you to Bruce. Hopefully any more questions will come in. Again, for those remaining slides, we'll be sure to connect you with those. And then we have more webinars coming up here at the Champaign Public Library. And our next one will be Job Search 101 next Tuesday, October 20th at 7 p.m. My colleague Kat Purcell will be presenting that. A lot more career webinars coming up. More webinars related to our business series, our technology series, our crafty adults, writers workshops. Just check out our events calendar online. And let's see here. And yeah, once again, the library is open and we'll be answering your questions in person and virtually. If you have any questions, here's our contact information. If you didn't get my email, you could also email librarian@champaign.org or help@champaign.org. You'll get to me either way. Anything else to add at this point, Bruce?
No, that's it. I just learn how to use the tool, and it'll be a lot easier finding a job. But the thing is, LinkedIn doesn't tell you about all the features of the tool. That's the problem.
And it changes. I mean, I just taught a LinkedIn Basics last month, and a lot has changed just in the last month. So
yes, it has.
He's not joking. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar. Thank you all for attending. I hope you all have a great night, okay?
Okay. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.